Marnie is the story of a beautiful, disturbed, and sexually repressed young woman who assumes multiple identities while cleaning out the safes of a variety of unhappy employers. She eventually gets trapped and is blackmailed into marrying the man who caught her. Isabel Leonard and Nico Muley are here with me now. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Hi.
Nico, what made you choose this psychological thriller as the subject for your second Met opera?
So Michael Mayer, the director, called me up, and I was out shopping or whatever, and he said, "You know what would make a fabulous opera is Marnie." And I realized he was exactly right. Like it's the perfect. It has everything you want.
Were you
in an
familiar
opera.
with it before?
Yeah, I was. Weirdly, I'd been reading a lot of Winston Graham's books because they'd just been adapted on the BBC, and I of course knew the film, and it just the whole thing kind of came to me in a flash, being like, yes, this would be perfect.
Now you composed this opera with Isabel in mind.
Indeed, yeah.
Right. So what about her was inspiring?
Well, I mean, what isn't?
Exactly.
No, but I think it's in a sense just the power of her voice, but also the power of sort of enigmatic acting felt really perfect for this, right? It's not a kind of obvious thing what to do. It's like you have to sort of weasel your way into the situation.
It's not an obvious character to play in any way, right?
Well, Isabel, you have been the toast of New York City since the premiere of Marnie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before we talk a little bit, let's watch a clip of your aria about the only creature you truly love, your horse, Audio.
All right.
Isabel, you are so beautiful in this part, dramatically and vocally, but what is so intriguing for you about it?
When I was first asked to play the part of Marnie, my answer was immediately yes, because I knew a little bit about the story, and the most interesting thing for me is to play a character who is so layered and who has so much history already in place, which you don't always get in some of the more classic operas. Sometimes you do, but there are often times where the history is a little bit more obscure. And in this case, it was pretty specific. Yeah. And there's something about that when you can really delve into the psychology of a character and then figure out, as the scenes go by, what part of her psychology you're trying to communicate. It's a big challenge and it's a lot of fun. So
and was that
fun.
supported with Nico's music? I mean, how did you find Nico's vocal writing for you?
Well, between Nico and Nicholas and our librettist and of course everybody, the entire team, everything worked in sync. And so Nico has Marnie singing. I kind of love how we call them links. So they're not these things called arias, but they're called links. And I think it's a really appropriate
kind of transitioning from one scene to another.
Right. So you have these scenes where she is interacting with people, call it in real time, and then these links that happen where you really hear more of what's going on in her head. And so the action stops, so you got a second, it's like the lens zooms in and you can hear a little bit more about what's really happening. Because what you see then generally with the other characters is what they are seeing, which is her putting on her
Interesting.
persona.
So kind of using that as a tool must have been something that you collaborated with Michael Mayer, like you...
Yes, but because the whole design team was with us from day one, right? So it was Mark Rimmer and Julian Crouch, and then and Nick, the librettist, and Michael. We knew that we could design a piece that moved that quickly, where there was one person on stage the whole time who functions as a narrator in a weird way, but without really knowing it. And that we knew that the set could move in a certain way, and we knew that the projection could define spaces both realistically and not realistically that quickly. So it opened it up for me to write lots of different kinds of music for Isabel, in which she really goes in and out of lying and not lying, and lying to herself and lying to the people around her.
Well, I just have to tell you both, I saw it and absolutely loved it. I'm thrilled for these audiences to
Yay.
get to see it on November 10th. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
You are welcome. Thanks.